I've talked about this before. I talked about it with them, actually, with Ted especially, where like, this is one aspect of being a YouTuber that I actually am a little jealous about. Because I just wish that like the issue is like being on Twitch all the time. You just don't really get a lot of time and like, you can't just like really log off and take time to make like cool, fun, interesting things like this. What's stopping you from doing that form of content? I mean, I literally just told you I have 180 hours to fill, and also, yeah, I just don't have time. I don't have time to do it. IRL streaming, it's not the same. What are you talking about? You think IRL streaming could be done with this? Do you know how many hours of driving is required to go to every fucking Margaritaville? Like, that would be unimaginably boring content. Nobody would watch it.
So, you clicked on the video thinking, is this guy really gonna go to every Margaritaville in the country? Well, technically, that title is a lie. Because I'm going to every Margaritaville in the country and Canada! Margaritaville, a tropical beach-themed restaurant chain created by America's greatest singer-songwriter, James William Buffett, aka Jimmy Buffett. Now, if you don't know who Jimmy Buffett is, let me catch you up before we hit the road.
Hi, I'm Jimmy.
Jimmy Buffett is a multi-platinum artist who's been touring the world since the 1980s. But think of Jimmy less as a musician and more like royalty. Because this man has built an empire in the last few decades by not just writing tropical country-style songs, but by creating a world around his music. And no song has built that empire more than Margaritaville. Margaritaville is a simple tune.
I've literally never heard this song. I just know it as like culturally relevant. I've never heard this song. I don't really understand what Margaritaville is, even though objectively I'm a very Margaritaville-ass motherfucker. I wear Hawaiian shirts all the time. I feel like that's a Margaritaville thing to do.
Created by Jimmy in the late 70s that then inspired the creation of his restaurant, Jimmy Buffett's Margaritaville. As the business started to thrive, they made Margaritaville shirts, shot glasses, keychains, and other merch until they expanded to Margaritaville hotels and resorts across the globe. But the restaurant that started it all is the official Jimmy Buffett's Margaritaville. There are 22 locations in the United States and Canada, with one in development in Boston, Massachusetts. And we will be hitting every single one. Last year, Ted Nivison and I went to every single rainforest cafe in the country. There were 18 total locations, and it took us 3 weeks to do it. The trip also nearly drove me insane. So you must be thinking, what kind of moron would go on such a pointless road trip, not enjoy it, and then decide just 1 year later to do another, even longer, pointless road trip? The night before we started our trip across the entire United States for 24 days, we decided to go to the first Margaritaville. Now, the closest one located to us is the one at City Walk at Universal Studios Hollywood. City Walk is just an outdoor mall in front of the theme park, but you might recognize it from Justin Bieber's famous music video, Baby. And I can't tell you what kind of honor it was to start this journey where Ludacris himself told us that when he was 13, he had his first love. As we headed toward the restaurant, I was getting increasingly nervous because this trip is even longer, so I was about to find out what I was dedicating a 12th of my year to. After finally arriving, we were greeted almost immediately by...
Like, that's insane. They took an entire month out of the year to make one fucking video. You know what I'm saying?
The Margaritaville sign. I could not have guessed what was inside. Jimmy Buffett's like...
That's awesome. it's just like not something I could do sustainably while also simultaneously Twitch streaming. And, you know, no, you can't do this totally IRL. Please stop, dude. You have no fucking concept of how goddamn difficult this type of shit is, okay? You just literally don't understand. You don't know. You don't know. It's impossible. Like, people in this industry, and in every industry, as a matter of fact, YouTubers and whatnot, look to what I do, okay? Look to what I do when I go to, like, Japan and stuff. Like, I'm out of my fucking mind. You guys take it for granted. Okay, you take it for granted because you're just like sitting at home, turning it on and watching, and you're like, what? I don't really understand. You don't understand how fucking logistically difficult the undertaking of a project such as this one would be, okay? Like, you just don't get it. It's just not feasible at all. It's unfortunate. You peasants don't appreciate me doing rich people shit? Wait, what? What part of that is rich people shit? Rich people shit is just like fucking off and doing whatever the fuck I want. I'm saying that, like, it is not feasible with the amount of hours. What does this have to do with me being rich? God damn it, you're so fucking stupid, dude. God, shut the fuck up. He would just be awful as well. Like, if I tried to IRL stream a big part of it. Yeah, I just remember I'm imagining a 30-year-old straight white man every single fucking time there is like a dude who's just freaking out about this shit.
Plastered across the entire restaurant. Jimmy's music was playing on the speakers. There was Jimmy-themed food, Jimmy drinks. There was a giant Jimmy Buffett's margarita blender. There were even screens playing Jimmy video at the table. It began to dawn on me that this restaurant wasn't named after just one song, Margaritaville, that Jimmy Buffett made. This entire restaurant was a cult dedicated to everything Jimmy Buffett.
Remember in Japan when we were supposed to go to the fucking Muscle Girl bar on Will's stream? And then what happened in that situation? Do you remember? Do you remember what happened then? Where the entire bar was full of... the entire bar was full to the brim with HasanAbi heads? Yeah, that's what would happen at every motherfucking Margaritaville that we attended.
They even had my favorite Jimmy Buffett quote on the wall. Pour me something tall and strong. This door is to remain unlocked during business hours. As we were seated, we were given the absolute honor of sitting at the boat table. Now, the boat table was interesting because it's a table that looks like a boat. But finally, it was time for the moment of truth. The menu. I was about to find out what 22 meals of the next 24 days of my life would look like. And to my surprise, it actually wasn't that bad. On our last trip, I was shocked to find things like Mojo Bones, Boom Boom Sauce, Iggy's Piggy Sandwich, and more. But this menu looked pretty normal, other than the fact that the names of the items were themed to Jimmy Buffett songs that I didn't know. For my drink, I ordered the perfect margarita, and as somebody who loves margaritas, I feel like that name is a little too confident, and after tasting it, I was correct. Perfect margarita? Jimmy, I might want to call this the just okay margarita. Now that's a Buffett burn. The group got some onion rings as an appetizer, and as we waited for our entrees, we were just having a good time. I did notice that there was a stage in this restaurant. It looks like it's fully prepared for live music, but it was completely empty for us, so I'm kind of wondering what that's all about. For my entree, I decided to start my Margaritaville marathon with a cheeseburger in paradise, which I believe is Jimmy's second biggest song. The burger was exactly what you'd expect out of a chain restaurant. I also need to stress that we are not being paid by Margaritaville on this trip, so as this journey progresses, I will be criticizing Margaritaville the whole way. But Jimmy, if you're watching this, I do take bribes. So our first dinner experience was exactly what you'd expect out of a chain restaurant. The food and drinks were just okay, but it was a dinner with a bunch of friends where we were just having drinks and hanging out, so I had a blast. But that fun was cut short because it was time to say goodbye. Ted and I officially sealed our fate with a handshake because
there are chain restaurants called Cheeseburger in Paradise too. Buffett owns more than one chain. Oh no, what the fuck? How much money does this man have, dude? What? This man is like got the cheeseburger market on lock. Jimmy Buffett net worth. Oh my God, he's worth $1 billion. He's worth $1 billion. Oh my Lord. He also, Land Shark is his beer? Who is this dude? Yeah, literally. That's what I'm thinking too. Like, what the fuck? A billionaire, apparently.
Tomorrow we begin one of the most pointless journeys of our entire lives. So I woke up this morning with a stomachache. I think it was almost definitely the Margaritaville food because I had nothing but a breakfast sandwich that morning and then the
Lies. He's already slandering the good name of James Jebediah Buffett. Do you see this? He started off on the wrong foot. Oh, it must be because of Warren Buffett's younger brother, James Charles Buffett. Fucked up. People who didn't have boomer parents are super confused right now. Yeah, I have no fucking idea what any of this shit
cheeseburger in paradise and 2 perfect margaritas. Completing this Margaritaville trip will mean that I've done 2 tours, and I've already experienced my first casualty.
I have to pee.
My tummy. My tummy hurts. I have a tummy ache. I really hope my tummy doesn't hurt most days of the trip. No. My tummy hurts. You guys don't know how hard it is to be a YouTuber. So the plan for the first day was to drive from LA to Phoenix, because the next Margaritaville on our trip was the one in San Antonio, Texas. Now last year we took Ted's 2002 Toyota Tacoma across the country, and Ted is over there with the Tacoma as it gets loaded onto a tow truck. So this year, to avoid ruining Ted's car for good, we decided to rent a newer Tacoma. And I'll be honest, Ted was in denial quite a bit. It's not squeaking, it's fine.
I feel like I'm hearing a squeak right now. This is too clean.
The tires are fine.
I have ears like a dog, so maybe it might be dog whistle.
I think it might be tinnitus. So for the second and final time, we hit the road again. Over 9,000 miles, 22 restaurants, and 24 days on the road. 24 days of my life for Margaritaville. One thing Ted and I immediately realized while driving was that we did not get a truck cover for the rental. And you can't just have your stuff out in the open for rain or for somebody to steal. We decided to go with camo so people wouldn't see our valuables in the truck bed. They would assume there was just a nice little forest back there. Finally, it was time for bed. We had completed the first day of our new journey, but not before we experienced the smoothest and quietest elevator ride of my entire life.
Jesus.
Day 2, the plan for the day is to drive from Phoenix to El Paso. I went for a quick run in the morning and then I hopped into my favorite elevator. Once again, we hit the open road, and I gotta say, as someone who's been pretty busy lately, it's been really nice to just drive and not think about it. Wait, what is that? What is the thing? Sorry, as I was saying, it's just good to get out there and hit the open road. Is that another The Thing sign? Okay, there are a lot of The Thing signs, and we need to stop for gas anyways, so I guess we'll pull off and see it. I would never be able to guess, though, what was in store for me behind those doors. In front of us was an entire museum dedicated to the what-if scenario of if aliens had come to Earth while dinosaurs were here. Now, I didn't know you could make an entire museum off of a...
Dude, Texas is so odd. It's so fucking strange, dude. I love it. America in general is so fucking weird. That's Arizona? Oh, I thought they were in El Paso. That shit's cool. What do you mean? No. I'm celebrating it, and I'm absolutely saying this is cool as fuck. It's just so weird, dude. It's fucking dope.
Hypothetical scenario, but apparently the aliens had come to teach the dinosaurs technology, and they were there to teach them technology until a war broke out between the aliens and the dinosaurs. The war got to a point where eventually the aliens had...
Why are they so cheeked up, actually, though? Like, they're so fucking cheeked. They are, like, painfully cheeked up.
To click a big button and send a meteor hurtling towards Earth. And the exhibit...
Also, it's not even a joke. I think this is infinitely cooler than most museums. Sorry, it's just the truth.
Didn't stop there. It told us about all the hypothetical secrets of our history. What if the aliens were a part of World War II? What if they drove around Winston Churchill in a car? And what if 9/11?
Are we implying what I think that we're implying here?
What if
9/11.
Ted did it? Finally, it was time for
Yo! Oh, that's so sick. Why didn't they do the JFK assassination? That's what I'm surprised by. Aliens objectively a part of,
the main event. The Thing. Ted and I inched toward it, terrified of what this secret would hold and what it would mean to our lives. And I was shocked to find that it was just some papier-mâché fake skeleton thing. And not only that, the guy who said he found the thing's name was Binkley. Number one rule in life, I'm not listening to anyone named Binkley. Day 3, and it is time for Margaritaville number 2. Ted and I spent most of our day crossing about halfway through Texas until we finally arrived at the San Antonio Riverwalk. We actually came here last year, and I just like this spot a lot. It's a very beautiful place in the city. So we finally located our second Margaritaville and met up with our friend Schlatt, who would be joining us for this meal. Now, this being my second Margaritaville ever, I was actually surprised that it looked somewhat similar to the one in City Walk, but it also had like a Texas twist to all of the theming. Immediately when we sat down, I spotted this quote on the wall, and I had to know where it was from. Turns out it's from one of Jimmy's songs called Who's the Blonde Stranger, where the main character of the song vacations in Texas with his wife, then proceeds to cheat on her with a blonde stranger while she's getting over a sunburn, but when he wakes up hungover, he finds that she's also cheating on him with a different blonde stranger named Dan. Is this
Wait, why? Dude, the 70s were awesome. You could just be fucking bald and be like perceived as the sexy guy on a TV show or on a music video?
important to the overall trip? No. Is it important to me that you knew this? Yes. Anyways, I ordered the fish and chips. Margaritaville has so much fried fish and shrimp on the menu that I thought I should definitely try their fish and chips because it must be a flagship dish for them. As we waited for our food, I ordered a watermelon margarita that was way too sweet. I also mentioned a stage at the last Margaritaville where it looked like live music could be played. That was happening here, which was kind of nice to hear just somebody play live music in a chain restaurant. Finally, my fish and chips arrived, and these look like frozen fish fillets to you, right?
Hey, Eddie, I cooked those up in my microwave.
Yeah, I would not trust that. That's crazy.
I know. They tasted okay, and we had a fun time just chatting and drinking over dinner. We seemed to be in the most Texas corner of the entire restaurant. It had the two things that Texas is famous for: cattle and a big old puddle next to your table. When you see a big old puddle, you know you're in Texas. After finishing dinner, we decided to stroll around the even bigger puddle, the San Antonio River, but not before Ted gracefully took a seat in this big Margaritaville chair.
Yeah.
And honestly, after it was just a really nice time strolling around this area. I remember liking this last year, but for some reason I associate it with something negative. And I can't quite put my finger on what it was, but honestly, I'm having such a good time that it doesn't even matter anymore. Alright, I think it's time to head to bed for the night. Okay, day 4 of the trip, and we're headed from Austin, Texas to New Orleans, Louisiana. And as we made our way across Texas, we decided to stop at Buc-ee's. If you're unaware of what Buc-ee's is, it is a chain of absolutely massive gas stations. It is chaotic in there, but people love it.
Is it like your guys' Wawa or something?
They make their own food inside, they have their own merch. People lose their mind for Buc-ee, but to be honest, he kind of creeps me out a little bit. And some of these Buc-ee's are so big, busy, and frantic that as a child, you could easily get lost. Buc-ee's nuts. Ted, did I say child? Because I meant adult. I have lost Ted. I am not freaking out, and Bucky doesn't scare me, but yeah, where is Ted? I can't find Ted. All I can find is everything Bucky's. Bucky's rubs, Bucky's nuts, Bucky's pillows, Bucky's blankets, Bucky's onesies. This place is so big, I'm never gonna find.
I love when people go, oh, it's like a gas station, Costco, Walmart. Guess what? Fucking, I don't know about Walmarts, but Costco's have gas stations, don't they? Sam's Clubs have gas stations in them. America, baby.
Find him. I'm gonna be stuck in this Bucky's forever. I'm gonna have to move in with Bucky. He's gonna be my roommate. Where is Ted? Oh, he's just at the checkout aisle. Whew. Crisis averted. We also ran into this dude Braden, who had met us last year while we were on the trip for the Rainforest Cafes because he watches our videos. What are the odds that we see the same guy in a different part of Texas 1 year later for this trip? After our stop at Bucky's, we drove all the way to New Orleans. No Margaritaville this night, so we went out on Bourbon Street and had some drinks and a good time. I didn't record a lot because I just wanted to focus on relaxing and having a good time, so we will see you tomorrow. Hitting the road today is special because for the first time on the trip, Ted and I are headed to stay at our first Margaritaville hotel. This one was in Biloxi, Mississippi, and we were shocked pulling into the parking lot. Before us was a massive building right on the water.
Bro, that's not a Margaritaville. That's Margarita Metropolis, okay? That is a whole ass town, man.
Of the Gulf of Mexico. But Ted needed the room to get some work done, so I decided to explore and see what this whole place was all about. And as I headed up the escalator in the main part of the building, I was met with one of the largest arcades.
He said the pride of Mississippi. Yo! God, I love America so much. This is the type of shit that I do love.
I'd ever seen in my life. They had everything. Rock climbing, zip lines, bowling, and even the globally known and incredibly popular game Stinky Feet. Apparently, this place used to be a failed Margaritaville casino that was converted into a family resort, which would explain the giant arcade floor. And as I explored a bit more and saw a pool and a theme park attached, I started to realize just how many Jimmy Buffett quotes echoed throughout the halls. They were on screens, in elevators, near the pool. I caught people talking about Jimmy to each other and to me. The quotes were all about living his lifestyle, and it started to feel like I booked a one-night stay into a Jimmy Buffett cult. After that, I met up with Ted to go to dinner, which was located above the arcade next to the volcano rock climbing wall. The menu was different here with a flaming crawfish dip that Ted and I really enjoyed, and I didn't really want another fried meal, but this was Mississippi and they had a catfish platter, so I went for it. And it was pretty good.
1860? 1,860 calories? Are you fucking joking? Oh my lord. For one fucking meal? Dude. Holy shit, dude. That's a run ender. Okay. One. Number two. No one, dude, I swear to God, people in the South live different. That's crazy. That is like, that's a meal that kills a small Victorian child. Easy. Okay? That is, there's so much oil there, America is invading it. There is no fucking shot. This is the joke where it's like coleslaw, that's a salad, brother. That's what it is. The only fucking green there is the cabbage. Is there fucking cauliflower, whatever the fuck they put in the coleslaw? I don't even know. That's crazy. This is the daily caloric allotment for like the average woman, okay? Huh.
Good, but I really should have listened to my gut on this one because this fried food so frequently is starting to kill me. Then suddenly, an alarm went off. The room turned red and the volcano began to smoke. Like that time Justin Bieber used a smoke machine on his fans. It continued on for a while until the smoke stopped and this happened.
Is it Jimmy Buffett? Is he coming? Is Jimmy Buffett there?
What the fuck was that?
Then after our meal, we hit the arcade.
All right, Ted, go easy on him.
800 calories, not the caloric allotment for a woman? No, Anna Briella. 1,860 calories. 1,000. There's a 1 in front of the 800. 1,800 calories. That's fucking insane, dude. Put another one, put a 1 in front of it.
Ted, go easy on him. Ted.
And just before the whole thing closed, I played one final game of the world famous Stinky Feet. The thing is, you need 2 players to play
Bro, that's not even one meal. That's not even, I can't get over it. Oh my God. It's not just one meal. It's one main. There's drinks. There's an appetizer. That's not one meal. It's crazy.
Stinky Feet, and Ted was busy on another game, so I charged my card twice and decided to play by myself. When a child no older than 4 walked up, grabbed the water gun, and started playing next to me without saying a word. And after a fierce battle, I won. I beat the child. I am the king of Stinky Feet. Today started with a lunch at the Margaritaville in Destin, Florida. Now this Margaritaville was directly on the water. Unlike, say, the one at Universal City Walk, this one was not themed to be on a beach, it just actually was on a beach. Our lunch here was going to be my first of 2 Margaritaville meals in the day. I got an Uptown Margarita, even though I'm getting pretty tired of having sweet cocktails so often, and also got the jerk salmon. The drink was fine, and the salmon was actually pretty good, especially after a bunch of days of fried and road trip food. The view of our meal also featured a bunch of weird boats. That was just really fun for me to see a lot of boats that looked like they're not supposed to be on the water. We then paid the check and got ready to drive just an hour and a half before we had another Margaritaville meal in Panama City Beach.
Ooh, worst place in America, bar none. Probably my least favorite place I've ever been to. God damn, dude. Now I can't speak for Destin. Sounds very suspicious, okay? A lack of an I at the end of that makes me feel uncomfortable. It's like one of those weird ass named places, but god damn. PCB is one of the worst places in the fucking nation. I will stand by that.
The PCB location was at this boardwalk area called Pier Park, and even though it was a little bit cloudy, this location was right on the water and beautiful yet again, which was a great distraction because the last thing I wanted to do an hour and a half after my last meal was to eat a meal at the same restaurant in a different location. The interior was pretty big and elaborate compared to some we had seen, but the place was super busy, so Ted and I opted to sit at the bar. I was still so full from the salmon, but I decided to get a chicken quesadilla for my food and a what the fuck was it called? A Ruby Red Renegade for my cocktail. Why did I choose it? Because the name of the vodka in it was called Deep Eddy, and that's my name, so I got it. Even though we were both full and exhausted, at least Ted and I had a perfect view of a very blue-tinted TV screen that exclusively showed Jimmy Buffett's Instagram posts, and boy does this guy know how to post. You had to kind of squint to see what the pictures were because the tint of the TV screen was so blue, but this guy's posting feet for free. Jimmy, you are a celebrity. You can charge for those puppies. Then we headed to the beach to see the sunset, and wow, this was absolutely beautiful. I had a great time wiggling my toes in the sand and staring at the sunset, but you don't get to see my toes because you didn't pay me. In the last 6 days, we had driven over 35 hours and over 2,000 miles, and my stomach was absolutely full of 2 Margaritaville meals. But either way, I couldn't deny that this trip had brought me to such a beautiful spot. Ted and I were even lucky enough to see dolphins out there swimming in the water. I don't think the dolphins saw us, but if they did and are watching this, you saw my toes for free and you owe me money. The drive today was a big one, going from Panama City Beach to Hollywood Beach, Florida. And I'll be honest, it was pretty taxing. Not only was it a 9-hour drive, but we had multiple stretches of heavy rain. well, I'm from Florida and the rain isn't such a big deal. Shut up. Okay, shut up and go tell Mickey Mouse.
I'm for the
do not
people. I show
care.
my
Rain
toesies
is
for free.
slippery, and slippery is dangerous. We got to the Margaritaville Hotel completely exhausted. This was another massive building. It featured a chandelier of margaritas and what seemed to be a Jimmy Buffett museum lining the hallway. The restaurant was attached to the hotel, so we sat down exhausted and starving. Now, this menu was a bit classier than other locations. We ordered a shrimp ceviche and poke nachos. Both were pretty good, unlike my ginger margarita, which was not great. But my entree, the lemon tahini bowl, made this the best meal we had so far. Turns out the best meal you can have at Margaritaville is when you have food that isn't from the standard Margaritaville menu. And after an exhausting day, having some decent food and drinks was exactly what I needed. They also had a live band playing, and for the first time at Margaritaville, I was feeling it. I had Jimmy fever. Jimmy's concert footage was playing on screen, and it was a comforting presence after a hard day. After dinner, Ted let me know that he had to last minute record something for his channel, so he got a separate room and I got ours all to myself. But lucky for me, I was kept company because Jimmy was on the hotel TV.
Hi, it's me, Jimmy. Thank you.
That's got to be weird, right? Like, I mean, I guess people are going there specifically for that, right? But after a certain point, it's like, why is this dude everywhere?
Thank you for escaping to Margaritaville. For many years, Margaritaville was only a song about a mythical place. Now, Margaritaville is real.
Watching the hotel TV made me realize just how strikingly handsome and charming Jimmy was.
So now enjoy Margaritaville and remember, fins up.
Fins up, Jimmy.
That's how
Waking
you
up
do it?
on day 8, we had 2 Margaritavilles on the schedule. The first on the list was in Miami. As we headed into the city, we spotted the coolest guy that's ever lived.
What's he doing? Oh, he's flying like a plane.
Being
And then we
fucking
pulled
dope.
up to the Miami Margaritaville, which
Being
was
fucking
right on the water.
super
At
chill.
this point, I am about to give up on trying one cocktail at every Margaritaville. We just drank last night, and it's not even just about the alcohol, it's the sugar when you're having cocktail after cocktail. But for now, I got the last mango in Paris, and good for me, this is one of the best cocktails I've had so far. But a little hungover and exhausted, I spotted a familiar face. I looked up and saw Jimmy once again on the screen, as if to say, "You're all good, pal. Have a good time." I ordered the grilled fish tacos, which for Margaritaville were pretty damn good. Now, if this were at a good taco stand somewhere, they would be mediocre to kind of bad. But for now, they're hitting the spot. Then it was time to book it to Key West, Florida. We got lucky on the drive and just narrowly avoided this storm. But I gotta say, once we actually hit the highway to Key West, this drive was absolutely beautiful. If you're unaware, the Florida Keys are a collection of islands off the mainland of Florida. In American culture, these islands are pretty famous. I'm sure you've heard the Beach Boys talk about it, or our boy Jimmy Buffett himself, whose entire culture around his songs is really based in Key West, Florida. We made our way through the Keys, and I was excited because Key West was the location of the original Margaritaville. But before we arrived, just a quick word from our sponsor. Hey guys, I just bought this new desk and I was a little worried it would be too big, but I'm happy with it. I think it's the perfect size. I want to thank SoFi for sponsoring this video because it was not cheap to screen to have a HasanAbi. I am happy we had a sponsor for this thing because, oh my god, I would not be paying for this shit by myself. The location was right on the beach, so after checking in, we decided to go relax and see the sunset. Last year, when we did our Rainforest Cafe road trip, it was fun, but also incredibly taxing. But the last few days on the beach were just too beautiful to stress about this entire road trip. And that's when it finally happened. Staring out at the water, I felt my stress melt and wash away with the tides. Even though we'd driven over 40 hours in 8 days, and even though my last 5 meals in a row were all Margaritaville, I got it. I understood. Jimmy Buffett wasn't just some guy who turned one hit song into a corporate empire. He's the king of being chill and enjoying yourself. Right where my toes wiggled in the sand is where Jimmy started this whole thing. I can't do this trip like Eddy would. I have to do it like Jimmy. Because no matter how stressed I get in life, mentally I have to be just like Jimmy Buffett. You come to a place like this and you can forget about wars, you know, famine, class disparity. I mean, all that stuff is still happening, but I'm in Florida and I had a margarita today. Liking Buffett isn't some weird cult thing. It's what can fix me.
That's how boomers
The next
treated, I
morning, I
assume.
woke up feeling better than I ever have in my entire life. And as I was going through my bag, I mysteriously found an article of clothing that I had never packed. This shirt not only looked great on
It's
me,
sick.
but also had put itself on my merch website, yikeshop.com. And you can get it by going there or clicking the link in the description. What the hell? That's so weird. Anyways, I felt refreshed and was ready to head back to mainland Florida.
That's
Today's
awesome.
plan was just to drive up to Orlando and stay at the Margaritaville Resort there. We decided to give ourselves one break day because it's near the halfway point, and then the next day we'd be going to Universal Studios Orlando, where there's a Margaritaville restaurant at their City Walk. The resort in Orlando was giant. Now, Ted was a little bit late to the bookings of the resort, but luckily, even though they ran out of rooms at the hotel, they had these cottages for him to stay in. I instantly just felt relaxed, surrounded by my favorite quotes from my favorite guy. Oh, and also, it was nice to be with my lovely girlfriend, Chrissy. Margaritaville! Chrissy actually wrote a song last year about wanting to live her life at Margaritaville, but unfortunately for her, that's my life now, so that's my thing. The two of us had a bit of a date night and had a fun night walking around Disney Springs, enjoying the sights and just having a nice time.
Typical guy shit, dude. Stealing from your significant other.
Today is not as interesting. We were just hanging out in Orlando. I got footage of this manatee eating some lettuce, so that's pretty cool.
That's sick.
We were also hanging out with...
Did you get it?
We were hanging out with Drew Gooden, my good friend Drew Gooden. But Drew and Amanda did join us on the Rainforest Cafe trip in Orlando last year. So I figured, of course, I would ask them if they wanted to do it again. Do you want to go to Margaritaville?
No,
Serious.
it's just one dinner.
I'm not eating dinner right now. Again. It's tomorrow. Your place. You live here anyway.
I want to go home.
You can do it whenever.
I don't want to.
Back when we were in Biloxi, I feel that I was a bit misguided in how I felt about Jimmy. Staying at our third Margaritaville resort brought me so much comfort. Jimmy was constantly speaking to me and reminding me to be calm, to breathe in and appreciate the beach, and also to drink alcohol. Leaving the resort, though, we were headed to Universal Studios Islands of Adventure because Margaritaville was located just outside the park at City Walk in Orlando. Before we entered the park, Chrissy got this awesome hat. I also tried on a hat that I was totally pulling off.
Oh,
Pulling it off. But I
Yes!
decided against it because I didn't want everyone at the park to be jealous of me today.
that's bullshit,
We
Eddie.
then entered the park, and immediately Ted got something called Who Hash, which is, you know, a Dr. Seuss themed food that looks like it's served out of a dog food can.
Cindy, that's her name. Cindy Lou Who. Tastes like Cindy Lou Who. Or, I don't know, the mayor.
We then spent the day going on rides and having fun, but right before we left, Chrissy and I decided
As someone who's never listened to Jimmy Buffett, just by vibes alone and the garb, the traditional garb of the Margaritaville head, or what is it called, the parrot heads or whatever, I'm immediately on board. Immediately.
to go on the Cat in the Hat ride. This ride was absolutely terrifying. What the hell is this? Is this supposed to be for children? Because this would absolutely terrify me as a kid. It terrified me right now. And after being absolutely traumatized
Your
by
mother
the Cat
is
in the Hat
vegan?
ride, we decided to
What?
go to the Margaritaville just outside. This one had an extra bar across the walkway with a plane next to it, and this is where I figured out that every time you see a plane in Margaritaville, it's a replica of Jimmy's personal seaplane, the Hemisphere Dancer. Wait a minute, quick clarification here. This is the actual fucking plane. They retired.
Wait, what? Wait, whoa, 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 whoa. Jimmy Buffett is from Florida and owns a seaplane? I'm not going to lie. There is 0% chance he did not traffic cocaine at some point. You cannot be a Floridian citizen in the 70s, have access to capital, own a fucking seaplane, and not traffic cocaine. It is illegal. There is 0% chance. Oh my God, he definitely trafficked cocaine. I'm not even 100%.
Tired Jimmy's plane and it is
1000%.
decoration at the Margaritaville in Orlando.
What's next? You gonna tell me he owns speedboats? You think he owns a man in the 70s and 80s, and even fuck it, a little bit into the 90s? If you owned a speedboat, a seaplane, and lived in the state of Florida, you abso-fucking-lutely trafficked a metric ton of cocaine.
I was next to Jimmy's real plane and I had no idea. I'm such an idiot. When we sat down for dinner, I got the huli huli chicken and shrimp, and this dish sucked. The chicken was fine, but the shrimp was really dry.
Oh my gosh.
But hey, just like my favorite guy, I spent the day in the sun, I ate some food and had a margarita by the water, and also got to see Margaritaville employees on stilts. It's always fun to see somebody on stilts. You're not supposed to be that tall, and I'll be quite honest, it'd be funny if you fell over. The next day, I had to say goodbye to Chrissy as we headed out from the Margaritaville resort.
Yeah, he says he almost did. Yeah, for sure. Almost. Okay, dude. There is 0, and I mean 0% chance. I'm telling you, it just doesn't work that way. It is not allowed. He has a catamaran. Well, technically, that's not a speedboat. It does go fast, but the boats I'm talking about are a little bit different. This is probably for leisure. Called cigar boats or cigar races, cigarette boats. Yeah, they're much more lean. And also, yeah, they're racing boats. That's why I said speedboat. This is more so for leisure, probably. Fishing, maybe. No shot he didn't fucking traffic cocaine. I am so convinced about this.
Everybody, what?
Oops, wrong mustachioed leftist guy.
Whoa. To meet at the truck, we had to head to the cottages that Ted was staying in, and I got a good look at this neighborhood. Who would have thought that Jimmy also owns full neighborhoods across the country? And normally this would make me feel kind of weird, but I'm just glad that they're providing housing to those in need. Retired people in Orlando. Once again, we hit the road, headed for Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. Now, we're not eating at the Margaritaville there tonight, we're actually doing it tomorrow afternoon, which is great because my stomach is on fire. But I've learned from Jimmy, you know, all of it is worth it at the end of the day when you're rewarded with a tropical location. And looking at the rest of the trip, I can't wait to explore the other tropical locations this nation has to offer. Margaritaville's in places like Atlanta, Georgia, Syracuse, New York, or Cleveland, Ohio.
Wait, that is not a photo of Syracuse, New York. What the fuck?
So yeah, I might be speaking too soon, but I'm pretty confident that I totally won't get tired of Margaritaville. When we woke up in Myrtle Beach, we didn't get to see the beach or the ocean at all because we had to go straight to the Margaritaville. This will start a stretch of 4 Margaritaville meals in a row.
That was Cleveland and that was Atlanta,
at
though.
Heroes Harbor and was pretty
I will
standard
not have
for most
Atlanta or Cleveland
Margaritavilles,
slander
except
on my
for
watch.
The giant Margaritaville hurricane on the ceiling hovering above one of their giant blenders. Due to the fact that I was going to have Margaritaville a second time today, I decided to take it easy and get a grilled chicken sandwich. The sandwich was, wet. It didn't seem like this was butter or anything. It tasted like water. I'll be honest, this morning I am out of energy and my chicken sandwich is super bland. Normal Eddy would be bummed. But it was like I could almost feel Jimmy's large, warm hands on my shoulder as I took in a breath and pictured myself on the beach. Pixelated toes wiggling in the sand. Suddenly, I was okay again. Immediately after Heroes Harbor, we had to book it to Atlanta, Georgia. Our schedule was very tight, so we had to get to Atlanta before we went to bed that night, because the next day we had a very long drive and 2 Margaritavilles to hit. But on our drive, traffic completely stopped. Stuck on the highway.
Normal.
I have to pee. The delay was so long that we ended up calling the Margaritaville and asking when they closed, because our ETA was 10 p.m. Luckily, they said the kitchen was open until 11, so we were fine if we got there an hour early. But when we arrived, we found the doors were locked, and when we asked one of the employees, they said they closed the kitchen early. This would completely ruin the next week of planning for us. But Ted threw a Hail Mary and told them that we were going to every Margaritaville in the country and that we absolutely needed to eat here tonight, but we didn't want to bother them. So if there was any way they could even give us like a bowl of chips to eat, that would be enough. And the manager said, "I got you." So they had us sit down, and the bar was open, but the kitchen was absolutely closed. They got us margaritas and then brought out a piping hot plate of ribs, fries, and spinach and artichoke dip. Ted and I were kind of in disbelief because they had no reason to do this for us, but they just did it because they saw we kind of needed some help with our extremely stupid road trip. And all the manager asked was that we just give her a good Google and Yelp review, so we absolutely did that. We of course left a tip. And I just gotta say, this is not me praising the Margaritaville Corporation, it was just every single employee in there was so nice to us. They did not have to do that. We are 2 guys doing the stupidest thing in the world, and they did not need to do any extra work for us, and I am very grateful that they.
That's just a Margaritaville lifestyle, baby. Honestly, like that's just fucking. They're like that. They're like that. And also Jimmy Buffett, I think, I'm absolutely convinced traffic cocaine, but that's different than this thing.
Did so. Thank you to everybody who works there.
It is 7 a.m. It is now day 14. 2 whole weeks of my life on Margaritaville.
Today was another double Margaritaville day that included 8 to 9 hours of driving. Ted caught up on
Double
some
marg.
sleep as I drove, both of us mentally exhausted. And as we got to downtown Nashville to have lunch, we walked our way to the Margaritaville. This one was pretty standard. You know, it had live music, a tiki room, and a plane on the ceiling. Did I want to be in another standard Margaritaville eating another standard Margaritaville meal? Not exactly, but it's not about what I want, it's about what Jimmy would do. I got a Southwest chicken salad, and when the salad arrived, the chicken was so dry. Which is fine, you know, I don't have a problem with that at all. In fact, I think that's cool as hell. Give me another margarita. Oh yeah, I can give me another margarita. Margaritaville, number 12, I think. How you feeling, Ted?
I'm fucking losing it, man.
Then it was time to head for the 13th in Pigeon Forge, Tennessee. Now, Pigeon Forge is famous.
For those of you who are wondering, my average pace was what? 30-minute mile. I went for I did. I went for 1 mile total in 30 minutes. I burned 328 calories total and 256 calories on active calories. And my average heart rate was 122 beats per minute.
Famous for its theme park, Dollywood. Now, Dollywood is a magical place created by country legend Dolly Parton.
This is the season for Dollywood.
And to be honest, I would love to check this out, but we have no time to do anything on this trip but go to Margaritavilles. Heading into Pigeon Forge, their main street reminded me a lot of the Wisconsin.
300 calories on a 30-minute walk. That's what the Apple Watch says. Take it up with the watch. But also, remember, a little bit of sneaking of like active and not super active, but like kind of like you sneak a little bit of activity in your day and you will legitimately start fucking burning shit without even realizing it. You know what I mean? Those on average overestimate caloric expenditure by what? 180%? Is that what you said? By 10%? I mean, 10% is nothing. It's probably more than that. It probably overestimates by more than 10%. Why did that chatter try to cut you down? I think that we live in a day and age where feel better about themselves by how much they shit on others. It's like, I feel shitty. So if I make another person feel shitty, then I have that over him or her or them. Here's the terminal break now.
and Dells, where I went frequently as a kid, both feel like Vegas strips for Midwest family tourists. The Pigeon Forge Margaritaville was a hotel and a restaurant, but I did not expect it to be in the middle of this huge...
Yes, Jimmy Buffett would not do that, and he would not be on board with that. Let's be fucking really real, okay? Jimmy Buffett, that is not the Margaritaville mentality. It's not even the Mamba mentality. Just saying, don't cut others down. You know what I mean?
Entertainment center with a Ferris wheel.
Your mom jokes are cool though, right? Yes. Except it's not a joke when I fuck your mom. That's very real. That's what you hear from her room every night as you cry yourself to sleep. Also, you're grounded.
Ted and I were splitting this very interesting room. It was covered in Margaritaville branding and also had a balcony that went out into the shopping center. We headed down for dinner, and this Margaritaville restaurant was pretty standard except for 2 giant jugs of margarita ingredients with piping that led to the restaurant's blender. At this point, I can say that we are officially burnt out. 13 meals at the same restaurant in 14 days. But in times like these, it's important to turn to faith. A higher power that can give you strength. I need to think WWJD. What would Jimmy do? If Jimmy didn't want a single bite of this food or a margarita, he'd kick off his sandals, throw his feet on the...
I'm not gonna lie, there's 0% chance Jimmy Buffett would be able to accomplish this task. Like, it's not even a joke. There is 0% chance that Jimmy Buffett, especially because of how wealthy he is, like, he would never be bothered to do such a thing. But let's say in a world where he somehow has to prove himself to all the fucking boomers. You know what I mean? Like, all these fucking boomers are just like, Jimmy, you don't go to all the Margaritavilles. Like, we want you to, you know, we want to believe you, but, like, can we? That type of shit. You know what I mean? And then Jimmy was like, sure, I'm going to do it. He would fail. He would fail. I know for a fact. He was a touring artist, so I'm sure he could, to be honest. I fucking doubt it.
The table.
Even when you're a touring artist, you at the very least get like a variety of different food choices when you're on tour. This is worse than that because you quite literally have to eat pretty much the same fucking food, which is not necessarily the best quality.
Lean back and order a cheeseburger in paradise and another margarita? I mean, if that's what Jimmy would do, I guess. I loved every single bite of it, and I was very glad that Jimmy was keeping a watchful eye on me the entire meal. I ate the entire thing. I wasn't sick of this food or extremely full. I was cool as a cucumber. Does this look like the face of somebody who isn't as chill as Jimmy Buffett? To prove how chill I was, I decided to grab this hat from the gift shop, and I was totally pulling it off. Ted went to finish his video in the room, and a chill guy like me decided to cruise around and see the sights. Normally, even though I don't have a fear of heights, I've generally avoided Ferris wheels. I also don't like doing things socially in public when I'm alone, like riding a ride. But I wasn't normal me anymore. I'd been born again as something much better. Cool Eddy. So when I got in line, I spotted the family ahead of me being forced to take a green screen picture before getting on the ride. And I thought, they're not gonna force me to take that picture by myself, right?
Let me hear you say hallelujah. Hallelujah. Let me hear you say I am blessed. I am blessed.
I got on that Ferris wheel and was totally chill the whole time. I am not worried about how high up we're going. Oh, we're shaking. Oh. So chill, in fact, that I fell asleep while on the ride. Swear to God, I was dead asleep. After I felt phenomenal. Normal Eddy wouldn't have gone on that Ferris wheel alone, but thanks to Jimmy, I have faith. The next day, all we had to do was drive from Tennessee to Atlantic City, New Jersey. After yesterday, I have absolutely zero complaints.
Oh God, another place that like the devil has left behind. You know what I mean? It's yet another person that just like even the devil wouldn't visit. Okay. Oh my Lord. Oh my holy moly. One of the worst places objectively. Jeez, Lord mercy.
It's about the trip. I'm chill. I'm fun. I'm not exhausted in the slightest. And because of that, I decided to catch up on a little bit of reading from my favorite guy. Do you know that Jimmy Buffett is 76 years young?
Cool.
Joe Jimmy actually has over 30 albums, most of which have gone gold, platinum, or some even have gone multi-platinum. They would hoot and holler and roll all round up there at the church they built out of an old school bus, and they'd run through the swamp. Don't you know nobody fucked with Reverend Sonny Boy and his followers? Snakebite Key was his domain. We started day 16 at the Margaritaville in Atlantic City. This one was located inside of a casino, and even though it was 11:30, I got a margarita for Jimmy. I enjoyed my morning margarita because that's the kind
A story about me developing alcoholism to cope. I'm using alcohol as a crutch.
and a guy that I am now. Other than that, though, this was a pretty uneventful Margaritaville. The waiter complimented.
Is he eating? Is he eating a chip,
that I
chocolate
am now.
chip?
Other than that, though,
What is that? That looks like a chocolate chip, like a fat one. I mean, it's not bad. It looks good.
this was a pretty uneventful Margaritaville. The waiter complimented my shirt, which you could get at yikeshop.com. My lava lava shrimp was crispy and I liked the sauce. I was having a great time. I even saw oars on the wall of Jimmy's most famous moments, like when he performed for Facebook, when he played the electric guitar, when he rocked.
It's like we all did that together. You know what I mean? That's how I feel. Like the vibes are immaculate. Like we're there with him. You know what I mean? Like he's not just there doing it on his own.
Don, and when he had a mustache. Then we headed to the beach to see the ocean so I could really take in the atmosphere. New Jersey. Next, we made our way to New York City. Now, normally, staying in Times
I want to point something out here, but the vibes in this chat, we started watching this video, has been low-key immaculate. I'm not even saying that as a joke. Like, everyone has leveled out. I don't know if it's because all the fucking weirdos who want to consistently debate me have, like, gone over to Cutie Cinderella's stream or something. I don't know what's happening, but we're chilling. I don't know. Maybe it's that. Maybe it's the fact that Jimmy Buffett's soul has captured the very essence of every single person. I've seen only one person in the chat since we started go, Jimmy Buffett's a really bad guy, actually. Fuck him. You know, like the whole, like, well, he's a billionaire and needs to be fucking killed or anything like that. We haven't even done that. I like that. Things up.
Square would be my nightmare. New York is great, but the crowds, the germs, and the general vibe of Times Square is a fever dream. But cool Eddie didn't think about those things, so we checked into the hotel and went to our rooms.
This is the whole room.
When we headed downstairs, before we went up the escalator to go to the restaurant, I was talking to one of the employees and they gave me a warning. They said, don't order the Jimmy's Jammin' Jambalaya. And I said, why? They replied with, it's bad. Steer clear of it. So I will not be getting that right now. As we walked into the restaurant, a shining beacon caught my eye.
How do you not order that?
In the center of the room was a giant...
How do you not order that? When you hear that, how do you not order that? I hear that, I'm like, that's literally what I'm beaming towards, okay? Thank you. That sounds like a challenge. I will be taking it.
Replica of the Statue of Liberty holding a margarita to the sky. The margarita glass was made out of an LED screen that played video on it. This was a shining beacon of light for all of those across the world who wanted to head to America and eat at a Margaritaville in Times Square. And this wasn't just the Statue of Liberty. This was a sign from Jimmy that I had not gone.
Someone has finally migrated from the other side of the room. The bed. And it appears as though they have yet to get enough sleep, even though they slept pretty much the entire day. Kyle looks like she had a rough ass night. No, 100%. Dude, look at how much, like, she's too big for the bed. How crazy is that? Why does she look like she just realized she's a dog? Like, I don't know what's happening here, but right now it looks like she's going through an existential crisis where she's like, what am I doing? I don't have thumbs anymore. What the fuck is happening? Like, I try to communicate with people, but they don't understand me. Looks like she's about to smoke a cigarette. Anyway, let's continue.
On far enough. So we ordered some food and some drinks with Ted's friends Katie and Devin, and this is where I decided to go all in. Anytime I felt a moment of being tired on this road trip or wanted to go home, I'd cut it short with another sip of a margarita. And we had margarita after margarita. The Margaritaville in Times Square also has bars on multiple floors. So we decided to do the Margaritaville bar crawl. Drink after drink, I could feel myself becoming closer to the man himself. And as Ted headed home for the night, I wandered around Times Square. I was invincible. I could make a beach out of anything. And it was then that I saw the absolute beauty of this place. Times Square was just like the beaches I'd been to. And I could live like this every night for the rest of my life.
All right, it is.
This just feels like a man going through like all the steps of developing alcoholism.
7 in the morning. I fear that last night I jimmied a little too close to the sun. I don't know how Jimmy does this. I don't know how you can sustain this lifestyle.
After getting out of bed, I got locked in the bathroom. As we make our way out of New York, I need to be honest with you. I know this may come as a shock, but I have not been loving every single Margaritaville. I just can't do it. I can't be like Jimmy. But we were headed to yet another in
That's a lie? That was a lie this whole time?
Syracuse, New York, with Ted's friend Tucker. Pulling up in Syracuse, it seemed to be a mall called Destiny USA. Not exactly a tropical beach somewhere. I parked in a different spot from everyone else and got lost in the mall trying to find them, so I went to this guy Spencer for directions. Word of advice, do not go in there. Arriving to this Margaritaville, it was clear that this one was probably the worst we'd ever seen. It was a lifeless Margaritaville in a mall. The food was below average.
Okay, that actually doesn't look that bad. I do love a club sandwich. I'm a slut for a mean club Sammy.
And if it wasn't for good conversation in the group, I would have really hated this lunch. Next up was Niagara Falls, so yet again, the boys were headed to Canada.
Any plants or animals coming in?
No.
Any alcohol or tobacco?
No.
Any cannabis in your car?
No.
Any guns in your vehicle?
No.
Any currency at $10,000 or more?
No. Once we were through the border, we decided to park and walk over to the Margaritaville. And the energy at the Niagara Falls Margaritaville was different. We were...
Wait, what the fuck? They have a whole ass Margaritaville on Niagara Falls? What the hell?
Next to a massive Niagara Falls screen. And aside from the projector waterfall, the menu was different and they had this pirate mascot guy. Hey Canada, Jimmy's the mascot. You don't need a pirate. Jimmy's already there. I got the buffalo poutine because we were in Canada, and to my surprise, this was by far the best thing I've had at Margaritaville. The chicken and fries were crispy, the gravy was really good. This was just a really great meal. And then just over the falls, a giant animatronic of a tequila bottle came over the cliffside. It then poured tequila into the giant blender in front of us. We were having a blast in Canada. We then decided to walk over to the falls. I saw this skunk on the way, check it out. As we were showing up to the falls, we happened to catch it right at the time that the fireworks show started. With a couple drinks in us, we had the best possible time in Canada. I should have a couple margaritas every night.
Bad news, guys. My tummy hurts again.
I don't.
Canadian food over American food confirmed. They probably do have different standards. I don't know, but I assume. I've never been to Canada. But I would suspect that they have different standards, so that might actually up the quality of the food low-key.
Don't care anymore. I'm
It's the same
over
shit?
this whole thing. Today we went to
Doubtful.
Cleveland, the most tropical Margaritaville that exists. I got a Caesar salad and the chicken on this thing. Wow. Without exaggeration, this was the toughest piece of chicken I've ever chewed in my entire life.
I take it back. Never mind.
And for some reason, out of nowhere, Ted has started liking Margaritaville now? What the fuck is wrong with this guy? Lucky for me, day 19 was in Chicago. Ted and I took the metro into the city because this one was located at Navy Pier. Now, I've mentioned before that I'm from the suburbs of Chicago, so it was really great to be home. But when we arrived at the city, it got even better because we met up with my brother, Tony. When we finally got to Navy Pier, we also met up with my good friend Danny Gonzalez. Heading into this Margaritaville, I was surprised to see that it looked more like a Chicago tavern than a regular Margaritaville restaurant. Everyone in the group obviously wanted margaritas, and I didn't want to be a buzzkill, so I went for another one again. We noticed that the photos for the fish and chips made them look higher quality than we'd seen before, so out of curiosity, I ordered them again. They looked almost exactly the same. And even though everyone...
Stop ordering the fish and chips. Okay. Like, this dude avoids the jambalaya, but for some weird reason, still consistently is ordering fish and chips at a fucking chain like this. I don't understand it. Never order the fish and chips. Like, always go for basic burgers, sandwiches, things like that. You know what I mean? I don't understand it.
Except for me was excited to eat. After the meal, none of us felt good. Okay, so we just got out of Margaritaville and we're all feeling like we had a...
Like, I feel like fish and chips is a dangerous bargain. It's a dangerous gamble. It's like fish, seafood needs to be done right. You know what I mean? Am I wrong? I feel like it's one of those things where, like, you can very easily get sick. Especially when it's like, especially when it is frozen fish. Never eaten fish? Yeah, but I'm a human being who is around other human beings do eat fish, like, regularly. And I feel like it's the one type of food that if it's not done right, it can get you kind of sick. And it's always just, like, super frozen. All wild-caught fish needs to be frozen. I will never eat fish unless it's at a place I know that's good for its seafood. Yeah.
Pretty heavy meal, but I think I know what'll make us feel better. The bean! Bean.
Does anyone understand, or can anyone explain to me the cultural significance of the bean? I've never understood it. It's just like a bean.
Bean. But even the bean couldn't stop my tummy from hurting. What makes it worse is that Jimmy wouldn't have a tummy ache. He'd probably be cool and chill about all this. I am such...
Some arrogant artist made it. He hates the name. It's funny to call it that. It's just a fucking big old bean. That's what it is. It's a giant lame ass fucking bean. Wait, actually, it's just a big old bean? Like, that's so weird. There's got to be a... It's called the Chicago Cloud, technically.
A failure.
All right, we're about to leave my mom's, but I can understand why I felt so bad after eating the fish and chips. I woke up and my stomach is legitimately like, I'm in a little bit of pain. It's not like food poisoning or anything. I just think my body cannot handle this much Margaritaville.
Hey,
Eventually, I got my stuff together and we started the drive to Bloomington, Minnesota to go to the Margaritaville in Mall of America. During the drive, however, I found out that I was not the only one who was affected by yesterday's fish and chips. So, Ted and I both got the fish and chips yesterday. And we've had some, let's say, stomach issues today.
Yeah.
So I think I can officially say that we're getting pretty damn tired of eating Margaritaville all the time.
Well, you know, it's right.
What do you mean?
You had intestinal trouble today. What are you talking about?
Yeah, but I mean, like, the vibes kind of counteracted it a
The
little bit.
vibes counteracted. What are you talking about? You're unhappy while we're on tropical beaches through all of Florida.
I don't know. I think my you know, I realized I had some self-reflection. I realized some things were maybe a little bit different than I was seeing them.
The day you had self-reflection is the day you had diarrhea?
Finally, we got to Mall of America, the largest mall in the United States, so I could have Margaritaville for the 20th time. And Ted seemed more excited than ever for absolutely no reason. Not only are there more Margaritavilles than Rainforest Cafes, but this one is taking a toll on my body and I cannot wait to be done. As we entered the biggest mall that the US has to offer.
I liked it with Eddy. I can't tell if like, and Ted too, actually. I can't tell if they're doing this fit specifically because this is like a Jimmy Buffett lifestyle thing, or if they just have this fit because they would just normally rock this fit. You know what I mean? I genuinely can't tell.
I felt a disturbing energy. Oh God. I had somehow forgotten that this Margaritaville was...
Okay, there's something weird. What's going on? Why is Margaritaville always conveniently placed near a Rainforest Cafe? What's happening there? I feel like there's another conspiracy that we're just like unaware of here. Something weird's going on. Tourist traps? Who the fuck goes to the Mall of America? What kind of tourism is Mall of America engaging in? Is there a lot of oh no. Will a lot of tourists go to the Mall of America? Are you kidding? Oh no, really? Yes, it's the Mall of America. Bro, it's fucking huge. I mean, dude. HasanAbi, there's an indoor roller coaster. I always wanted to go there as a kid. So pathetic. Wait, what? People fly there just for the mall? You are acting like a chatter tonight, dude. You're saying things so confidently. Okay, first of all, the first conspiracy thing was a joke. But the notion that like Mall of America, people are going there for funsies and for tourism, that's wild. What the fuck? That's so sad. You're not at a Marabou. You're a coward. Tourists come from China to shop at the outlet malls here in the Texas suburbs. I see Mandarin at the checkout. That part I do know. Outlet malls serve a purpose. They sell older designs that for cheaper prices. So that part does make sense. Or maybe it's because I'm Turkish. And here, I'll move the sweet green back so you guys can see, get a better vantage point on the little girl. They put fucking rides and shit in the mall? What is wrong with people?
Directly across from the Rainforest Cafe. The two restaurants that have broken my soul and made me look like a fool, sharing a space right next to each other. We headed inside to get this one over with, and as I went to...
Bro, I just realized, like, when the Iranians were like, what cultural landmarks of yours could we even dare to strike? It's this. It's this. Mall of America is like the most American thing. It's quite literally a mall that is designed as an amusement park. It's a tourist destination. There is nothing more American cultural landmark than this.
Order a water. Ted ordered us 2 5 o'clock somewheres in a blender and an order of volcano nachos. The thought of drinking one of these drinks just 6 hours after trying to...
Okay, I wasn't wrong. Al-Shabaab threatens malls, including some in the U.S. FBI downplays threat. Yep, that's it. They already tried to attack our cultural landmarks, it seems.
To recover from yesterday's meal was sickening. And before I knew it, a giant mound of nachos arrived.
That looks fire. That looks fire. You're a hater.
But somehow, next to my misery was Ted. enjoying himself to a weird degree for the first time at the 20th Margaritaville. Then it was time for our entrees, and I realized that in my attempt to order as much of the menu as possible, I had only a few chances left to get a dish that I had been avoiding. One that sent shivers down my spine just hearing the name. Jimmy's Jammin' Jambalaya. As I went for a bite, I clearly burned my mouth right here. I burned the shit out of my mouth. It doesn't look hot when you look at the plate, but when I picked it up on a fork, look at the steam, my God. Jimmy's Jammin' Jambalaya was fine. But when you eat at a restaurant 20 times in 20 days, everything from them starts to taste the same. And instead of joining me in my misery, Ted, yet again, was having a blast at the Mall of America. Look at the way he's eating. That drives me up the fucking wall. I just can't fucking. Second trip in a row, he's doing the exact same bullshit. I know. That's when, for the first time, the thought crossed my mind. I might kill Ted. After finishing our meal and paying, Ted demanded that we go on a roller coaster immediately.
I mean, can you let me digest for like...
yeah, fuck that, come on.
After the troubles of this morning, and forcing down this meal, and having another super sweet cocktail, going on this ride broke me. Even though they didn't let us film, Ted insisted on going on the ride a second time right after we got off. So nauseous and tired, I walked around alone. There I was again, wasting away in Margaritaville. Not chill like Jimmy, just Eddy. Day 21, and thank God we only have one Margaritaville left in Las Vegas, Nevada. There's another one in Tulsa, Oklahoma, and it's a 10-hour drive. Oh my God. When we arrived in Tulsa, we were shocked to find that this restaurant wasn't just in a casino. The casino was owned by...
Oh, we got the jambalaya? Good. Good for him. Good on him. He should have tried it at the place that it was shitty at, though. That's real bravery.
Margaritaville. Walking past the slot machines to get to the restaurant, I noticed that there were Jimmy Buffett quotes on the wall, but they were less about being peaceful and more about luck and winning in the casino. We got to the restaurant and this one was pretty big. Lucky for me, the menu and food quality at this one was much better than most Margaritavilles. And having this food was actually pretty refreshing after a month of cheeseburgers in paradise. But as we left dinner, I noticed how...
Yeah, some of you have been asking in the chat, how the fuck did this guy make a... Dude, stop. Stop. Kaya, stop. Kaya, get out of... it. There's this thing that she does when she gets bored, where she'll just come in and plant right underneath me. Like, she will just... Yep, there you go. She brought her toy. Because it's playtime. For her, at least. It's playtime for her. The funniest thing is, like, she doesn't even try that hard to pull. It's like, I wanna wear her out. But, like, she'll get bored of pulling. Like, she still wants to play, but then she, like... will just lay down on the ground. Very odd. Which is like, I want to pull, but not too hard, and I don't want to exert too much energy.
How Margaritaville branded the machines in the casino were. And they had these Margaritaville characters on it that I had never seen before. Mr. Moneybags? Lucky Ducky? Who the hell are these people? Ted and I were on the final stretch across the country, and all we had to do today was camp at Santa Rosa Lake in New Mexico. On our way, I stopped to buy snacks at the gas station when this dog came out of nowhere and was just hanging out near me. Whose dog is this? I'm in a gas station. Anyways, I grabbed my snacks.
Gas station dog.
Oh, hey. The owner said it was his dog. His name was Buddy, and he was very sweet. We got to our campsite, and it was beautiful. Ted made some steaks on the grill, and I made a little spread of meats and cheeses for us to snack on. Having a full day to enjoy ourselves and nature got me thinking. As we near the end of this road trip, I realized that maybe I was trying a little too hard to be like Jimmy Buffett. And on our way to Vegas, I questioned why I had strived to be a beloved, rich, and famous musician that gets to vacation all the time. I mean, what was I thinking? I don't need to be Jimmy Buffett. I need to be myself. And to truly be myself, I need to face what I fear most. Something that has been haunting me for over a year of my life. And finally, I think I'm ready.
Stand right there. Ted, we are headed to the final Margaritaville. But what do you say we make one pit stop first? Do you want to go to the Rainforest Cafe and get one drink?
Yeah, I do.
The Las Vegas Rainforest Cafe was just as I had remembered it. It had a Tracy tree, a cheetah, elephants, monkeys, and of course...
I wish that the Rainforest Cafe would have actual rainforest animals, but like I do understand that like that's not sustainable and it would be terrible for the animals themselves. I'm just envisioning a perfect world, you know what I mean?
Thunderstorms. Ted and I got 2 cheetah-ritas, and man, they were bad. But to my surprise, I liked being back. It was comforting in a way. Not like being home, but sort of like when you pass your old high school and it feels familiar, but you'd never want to spend a full day there ever again. After our quick pit stop, Ted and I said goodbye to the cafe and were ready to close this whole thing out.
One more.
One more. We walked just 2 blocks.
Someone said there's a Margaritaville in Hawaii. Wait. No fucking way. No, it's permanently closed. There used to be a Jimmy Buffett's Waikiki and a Margarita Village, I think, but I think it's like, no, it's closed.
Blocks down the strip and finally arrived at the final Margaritaville. This one was one of the busiest and most decorated Margaritavilles of the entire trip. And for the first time, I truly felt it. We ordered 2 perfect margaritas and a key lime pie, a dessert to end our 24-day Margaritaville meal. Turns out I can experience true joy like Jimmy, but only when I'm done doing a thing that I have to do. Our pies arrived, and as the key lime hit my mouth, it tasted like one thing. Victory. And that was it. We had eaten at every single Jimmy Buffett's Margaritaville in the US and Canada.
Look at this. She's using the other arm to gain leverage. Like she thinks she's slick.
Finally, I could go home. We were done. Again. And the only thing left to do was to say goodbye to the man that had helped me through this whole thing. Goodbye, Jimmy. Goodbye, Jimmy. Goodbye, Jimmy. Goodbye, Jimmy's dog. Goodbye, Jimmy. I truly cannot believe that we did this a second time. And after celebrating our accomplishment that night in Vegas, Ted and I ended our journey looking out on the strip in the exact same spot we had just 1 year before. Our second and final road trip doing something like this was now over. And these 2 journeys have done so much for me. I've been able to see so many beautiful locations across this country.
Is it just like a big ass pistachio? What the fuck?
I've been able
God, I love America so much. It's so fucking weird.
to make countless memories with people that I love and care about. As a person, I've been able to grow and learn more about myself. But these trips were about something so much more than all of those things. What it's all about at the end of the day is giving 2 giant corporations a ton of my money. And knowing that I did that means that I wouldn't trade these trips for the world. Not even if my family was in danger and doing so would save them. So now, after just 45 days of our lives, Ted and I are the only 2 people on the planet that can say we've been to every Rainforest Cafe and Margaritaville in the US and Canada.
Which is the absolute coolest thing.
It's actually
Medieval times. I wanted to do that. I talked to Ted about doing that, remember? But like, I don't know how that would work, considering that there's a labor dispute ongoing, an active unionization happening. I I've never been to a medieval times. I've only dreamed of going to a fucking medieval times. But it seems I don't want to fucking scab it. You know what I mean? The one in New Jersey is unionized. If you're ever on the East Coast, I think. Wait, wasn't there like a labor dispute in one?
Actually, not that impressive. Oh my God, was this a giant
Don't
waste
ever
of
say
time?
that. It's very
45
impressive,
days. That
Eddie.
doesn't even count when I planned both trips or when we were editing our videos. Oh my God. Oh no. Oh.
Wait, is the one in OC in labor dispute? One of them I thought was, but the one in California has been striking for months. Oh, Buena Park, California. Objectively, I'm a very Margaritaville ass motherfucker.